and welcome to Snack Sandwich. Today I'm going to take a quick look at Yearn Finance's Yearn COWSwap integration system here. I think this is really cool stuff. I always like when Yearn comes up with something big and interesting and cool, so I try my best to cover them. I used to do a lot of Yearn videos, and I don't do quite as many now because they tend to be just like different strategies and stuff like that. But this is some super duper cool innovation that they've added, and I think this will become standard as more and more projects start to understand how to incorporate this and so forth and use this to the benefit of their depositors and users and investors. Okay, so you can come here and read this. I'll put this in the description below, and if you haven't read this already, then I would suggest you to come read it. It's pretty simple. However, I do have a flow chart for you to kind of explain the system here and give you some of my thoughts and ideas as well. I did do a video a little while ago, about a year ago, on COWSwap, and I would suggest you to check this out because it is a unique system in itself, and it is more valid of using. I use COWSwap all the time for almost all of my trades. COWSwap is just a straight up for, like, the UI is very straightforward. It's just, I want to swap ETH for whatever, LUSD, whatever tokens you want, and it'll quote you and tell you. But when you swap, there's no gas. You just need to sign, okay? The gas will be taken out of, like, there are these fees, right? And I do have a discount because I have some vesting cow here. But there are some fees, and those fees are paying for the gas in a sense. So it's not like there's free gas, but you don't have to worry about having ETH inside your wallet to pay for the gas for these kinds of swaps. Now, one more thing, if you do want to support the channel and you like working, like what I do, then you can do some of your swaps here. I will put a link to my referral code here. And as you can see, I have had 4 people swap. Now let's see if they can beat me. Right now, I've swapped more value on COWSwap than my referrals have. So let's try to beat that, okay, guys? So anyways, I'll put a link to my referral swap in here, and you can, do a swap there. And basically, some of the fees that are taken will be then given to me in a sense. Okay, so anyhow, let's move on to the flowchart and let's get through it. Okay, so here we are on the flowchart, and we have dollar bill. Dollar bill has some DAI. Okay, now dollar bill deposits the DAI into Yearn and gets back YV DAI. Now this is normal stuff. This is easy stuff. Okay. Now what does the Yearn do with the DAI? Well, Yearn wants to make him some more DAI, right? So they send the DAI away and to different strategies. They have all kinds of strategies for the DAI vault, and I'm not going to talk about all the strategies. This is not a video about the Yearn DAI vault, but it's going to be used as an example. So all of the vaults can use this system that I'm going to explain. So the DAI is one of those strategies. The DAI is sent to the 3 pool, so 3 CRV pool, to farm and earn CRV rewards, okay? Now, some of those CRV rewards will be locked for VECRV, but again, that's something for another video. But a large portion of them, because all that dollar bill cares about is getting more DAI, right? So some of these CRV do need to be sold. So how are they sold? They are generally, in the past, they were hard-coded. So the path was hard-coded. So for example, the path might have been sell the CRV for ETH in the CRV ETH pool, then sell ETH for USDT in the Try Crypto pool, and then sell the USDT for DAI in the 3 CRV pool. Now, some of the considerations when they hard code this path is like, where is the deepest liquidity? Because the deepest liquidity is likely to get the less slippage and be able to handle the big trades, right? However, they also have to consider trading fees, because this path has quite a bit of trading fees. Like, it's like 1, so there would be 1, 2, 3 hits of trading fees, right? Now, it might be better to use a different pool. Maybe there's a CRV USDC on Uniswap or something, and they can sell through that instead. So along comes COWSwap, okay? Now, the reason why they're choosing COWSwap and not just building their own is because they want it to be as decentralized as possible. So there are, lots of DEX aggregators like Matcha and 1inch and stuff like this, but they do all of their solving on a server and then spit out the best choice to you, and then you ask them to execute this for you, right? However, COWSwap works a little bit different, okay? They have a decentralized network of what they call solvers. And the solvers are competing for this transaction. So in this case, this Yearn vault, right, wants to sell CRV to get DAI. So they tell COWSwap that. And then all of these solvers then look through their strategies to get the best possible deal in DAI. And then this transaction will be executed. Now, Yearn also has built their own solver to compete with these other COWSwap solvers that are already there, and they encourage you to join them if you have the capabilities and the knowledge. Now, Yearn uses a language thing called WayRoll. Now, WayRoll is described as a simple and efficient operating chaining scripting language for EMV. So that's kind of a big mouthful, but I'll explain to when I come back to WayRoll, I'll explain it to you a little bit more. So let's skip ahead and then just keep that in your mind that I will explain this in a few minutes or so. So along comes Boosted Bill. Now, Boosted Bill is bullish on CRV for whatever reason. Maybe he wants the fees, maybe he wants the capital gains, maybe he thinks it's going to moon. Whatever reason, he wants to buy CRV, and he has DAI. Okay, so the strategy has CRV and wants DAI, and Boosted Bill has DAI and wants CRV. So this is why they call it COWSwap, because there is a coincidence of wants. He wants what he has, and this wants what he has, so they can just swap between each other and not have any trading fees. And then any surplus, like if there's a lot more CRV here than he can handle, then that will go through the solvers and get them their DAI. Okay. Now, Boosted Bill, he deposits his CRV into Yearn and gets back YVCRV. Now, I'm not going to explain to you all of this thing. I do have a video that explains that. You can watch that. I will link to it at the end of this video. However, he's let's say he's deposited his CRV in here, and his CRV is used on a curve to earn 3 CRV. Now, this 3 CRV is the same 3 CRV here. So we have another coincidence of wants here, right? So we have, instead of swapping and going through these swap pools, this strategy and this strategy have a coincidence of wants. Like, there is DAI inside here, and there is CRV inside here. This one wants to compound and get more CRV, and this one wants more DAI. So there's another coincidence of wants here. So these two strategies can actually wait for each other to be ready and then perform this coincidence of want harvest call, where they both kind of just basically swap between each other, and then any leftover again is sent to the solvers, right? Now, along comes Caesar. Caesar has some DAI. He wants to enter. He wants to get in on his. And let's say, for example, Dollar Bill has had enough, and he wants to pull out some of his DAI. He wants to, dismantle his YV DAI, and so here we have another coincidence of wants. However, depositing into a vault is very cheap on gas. Withdrawing from a vault is very cheap on gas. So there's no real need for coincidence of wants, unless there's no buffer inside this vault. Like, there's not a lot of idle DAI sitting here for him to pull out. If it has to pull from one of these many strategies, it can get quite costly, because these strategies might require the unfolding of big positions, or like many different leveraged up positions, in order to get him his DAI. So in this case, instead of actually withdrawing from these strategies, they can just swap these tokens, so he can get the DAI and he can get the YV DAI. Okay, now back to the WayRoll. So for example, another WayRoll idea here is that, let's say Amma here, Magic Amma, has some ETH and she wants to get YV Caesar. So she deposits it into the contract. So she deposits it into Yearn, and it uses this WayRoll. Now, this WayRoll will swap the ETH for Caesar tokens, and then deposit the Caesar tokens into the vault and get her Caesar tokens. Now, that sounds a lot like a Zap, right? But the difference here is that with a Zap, with a traditional Zap, the all of this, the prediction of how much Caesar tokens getting deposited has to be kind of estimated because it's all done in one transaction, right? However, using this way rule and the COWSwap, they're able to find out what exactly how many Caesar tokens will be gotten from this ETH, and then they know exactly how much to deposit into Yearn to get her YV Caesar tokens. So there's no dust left in these Zap systems. Now, a lot of Zap contracts, if you go deep inside and you look, you will see that there's all kinds of little dusts inside some of these Zap contracts. Whereas in this case, because of this ability to work with COWSwap, they can get this exact number to deposit. So this is kind of what they've built here. Now, this doesn't like, you might be thinking like, well, how does this make me money? It's efficiency, okay? What they're doing is they're not wasting. So they're saving dollar bill trading fees. They're saving him gas. And they're also saving the dust that might be left behind and so forth. So that's how it's boosting yield, just creating a more efficient system. And I really like this. So that's pretty much for it for today. I hope this has been useful and interesting, and I appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.